Hello everybody, so I'm Manisha Phadke, currently the director of NMIMS School of Design. So we offer a 4-year degree program which is also AICTE approved, which gives you a Bachelor of Design, which is BDes, specializing in humanizing technology. So now the question is, what is humanizing technology? When speech technology or AI or IoT or immersive AR, VR come together in a product form that is delighting and which is experiential to a user, that's when it gets consumed better. So the act of creating products that are delightful and human engaging is the act of humanizing technology, and that's what our degree is all about. So we have a 2-year foundation which is all encompassing, which is transdisciplinary as well as stream agnostic. Then we come to a 3rd year where the students start exploring themselves into every emergent technology opportunity. So it could be connected experiences, it could be immersive experiences, web and mobile, it could be game mechanics and so on and so forth. And they also explore another route of design, which is creative entrepreneurship. So what we looked at creative entrepreneurship till date is designers setting up their studios. But what we're looking at students doing now, that their solutions can be possible businesses. And that's what we make them and acquainted is, how do you take a prototype into a business pitch? So the 3rd year is more engaging, learning, finding themselves, propagating themselves into applications. The 4th year is when once they found themselves where they want to be, they take an internship in a company where it really engages them into a professional aspect of, say, IoT. And they complete that internship and they come back and do a capstone project. If they want to take the same route, if a student has chosen IoT and experience design in IoT as a way of working ahead, he can come back and do the capstone project. If at all he feels that that is not where he wants to go, he or she can come and do a capstone project in another domain as well. In the meanwhile, he also does a dissertation. So how do he comes to a dissertation? So we seed the research or scientific research capabilities right from foundation. So a student actually writes an article, writes a white paper, does a conference poster, writes a full-blown research paper. So we seed that skill and then get him to write a research. We also, early on in life, soon after their foundation, we also have an NGO interaction where the student is now looking at how design can actually impact lives. Because if you see the 3 words that our school stands for, it's challenging a student, evolving a student to impact lives. So this particular NGO at a halfway stage actually gives an opportunity of students to see how is design, their tool that they have, which is a design, which is so prolific. You can actually make so many changes in the society because of this tool. So that's what we engage in, and that's in a whole in a complete degree program. So if it is generalist till the foundation, and then it becomes domain specific, so it's not stream specific. That's the framework of the program. So I think, again, when I said design is a verb, somewhere along these lines and working time in the industry, I also felt that your interest in art does not always lend you to be in the design field. So I think there are some great engineers, there are so many people who are practicing medicine or like biology, for example, can make great thinking designers. So I think the opportunity that we are giving our aspirants is, if you like art and if you like engineering as well, or technology, or you like humanities and you like technology, you don't have to choose from either or. This is one place you can come together. So our aspirants can be basically varied. How do they get into it? We have a 3-step process. So as NMIMS University, we have an NPAT exam that is held all over India, and it's an MCQ based test. So people who opt for design as a option sit back and give the design aptitude test, which is again an MCQ test which tracks a student on spatial recognition, some general knowledge in design, and some numerical abilities as well. Post that, we get the students to our Bombay campus, where we do a studio test. Again, because our ideology is different, our test is a problem-solving test within 90 minutes. And that's a sketch, draw, design process. So we're trying to map a student on his creative abilities as well as his sketching skills, followed by a one-on-one interview. So the interview session is more on a discovery phase for the students. So the panelists are actually trying to discover some passion. Why does he want to be in design? What's the need? What is he looking for? She's looking for, and so on and so forth. And with that, we have a merit list that comes. As of now, we take only 25 students. We are releasing a very intense, elitist, for the lack of a better word, student cohort out in the market. Well, yes and no, because when you like to draw in a certain way, you need certain guidance to know how to draw. So you know how to draw a flower, for example, but you are actually just tracing a flower's shape. When you get into some mentoring or tutoring, you can actually see the form of the flower as a three-dimensional volumetric form, and you learn to get sensitive to these things. But nevertheless, it's not one size fits all, especially not in our kind of a setup or our selection process. It's still what the student is bringing to the table. So what does he want to make and do? So it's not about only drawing. People are very creative by making things of paper. They are very good in their prototyping, which later becomes prototyping, but right now they're just making different sizes of boxes and ships and maybe clicking great photographs. So I think at this stage they are a learner and they have not decided where they want to be. So both ways really works. But I think the ability to understand that if you want to get into design, then you need to know more about design. So maybe know more about the isms, or know more about one or two designers, or know what's happening in a design field. I think that's more important than just putting the whole onus on somebody else to train you. I think they work together. Not from the coaching classes, well, that's not my experience, but definitely from their education system, because they come from a rote learning education system. They also come from an idealistic approach to education system. So this is the question and this is the answer. But in design, we are saying what is the answer and why is the answer so. So the ability to be individualistic in approach, ask the question why, probe. It's okay not to know the answer, we'll find out as a process, is something that they have to actually unlearn and get. I mean, that's where they are shaky, and that's quite a difficult task for a student in the first term here. Yeah. Well, the trajectory of design is really great today. I mean, if I would want to be born again, maybe I should have been born in this time. I don't want the other vices that are coming in this time, but for design, I think this is a great time to be. It's like the Ram Rajya, and so design is a possibility in business. It's a possibility in research. It's a possibility in creating something. It's a possibility in even an approach in cultures, in companies. So I think it's moving from tangible to intangible, and it's moving from experience. I mean, it's moving from consumable experiences or products to intangible and human-led experiences. I think it's the best time. What we should do, I think we should appreciate that design has all these interventions, and education for all these interventions or training for all these interventions should be different, and we should work in that arena, whether it is executive education, whether it's university-led education, whether it's a coaching class that you are doing. I think we should all figure out these interventions and work in that areas as well, so that we can push the trajectory ahead. So when we are training the students to look at what I'm trying to say, like we're looking at holistic or system thinking or ecosystem driven solutions, then the student is trained academically in that, and he's also working the professional projects. But when he or she gets out in the industry, he's only going to push the envelope forward. Yeah, he doesn't have to go step back and say, what have I learned? Okay, now I need to align it to this. He doesn't spend that time. We're just going to give him a great thrust. I think that's what we need to do. And I think design and innovation, because of the government initiatives also, Digital India, Atal incubation centers, we are working in innovation. We are not working in jugaad. We are working in innovation. I think the time is right. Most of the important prominent multinationals have their R&D centers in India. What better time? What better time to be a designer?